Hi, everybody. This is Heather Coleman, your intuitive medium and spiritual guide. And today we are going to be talking about clairaudience, or we could also say the situation where you are a clairaudient person, perhaps clairaudience or clairaudient. So clairaudience, I'm going to call it a compound word. Clair means clear, and audience is hearing, or audient would mean hearing. So clear hearing. Now, when we use this term in the metaphysical and the psychic, we're talking about someone who can clearly hear sounds that are not of a physical or earthly origin. So recently over Facebook, there was this amazing meme that had such a great response. And I just want to read off some of the bullet points off of this that people really connected with. And I was so excited to see all of the engagement on that. Some signs that you could be clairaudient. You enjoy quiet alone time. And I loved this point and wanted to expand on this a little bit because people who find that they really need their quiet alone time, sometimes those people are aware of this and sometimes they're not. And I would fall into this category myself. People who tend to get overstimulated and therefore need that quiet alone time, the reason is that those people really need to be able to hear their inner voice. And sometimes we think it's just those thoughts in our own head, but what we may not realize is that we in fact are hearing the guidance of our angels, our own spirit guides, our deceased loved ones. And so we need that quiet alone time to stay connected to that. And we don't even realize that the reason that's so important for us is that we need that time to listen to our intuition being that communication, let's just call it a communication portal for now, to the other side, to the spiritual realm. Do you tend to talk to yourself? Often the reason that clairaudient people need that time to talk to themselves is to hear with their ears out loud what they're in fact hearing in their minds. I was looking at this meme recently, and this was very eye-opening for me. Because as a child, I was not an open medium. And today I am indeed a clairaudient telepathic medium. But as a child, I didn't even realize why I was so many of the things on this list. And I, again, didn't even realize that I was clairaudient without even realizing what it was. If music has a large effect on your mood, and I want to get into that. In fact, the very next item on that list we had over Facebook, just to kind of show you what that looked like. I know it's a little hard to see. You'll hear messages within music or the radio. And in fact, a lot of these concepts overlap. In fact, we have a video on my channel you can scroll through, how to recognize signs from your deceased. And that is often the way our deceased loved ones communicate with us is by sending us songs on the radio. And I'm just putting a note to myself here, since I'm kind of new to some of this this YouTube stuff. I'm going to put a link up to that video so you can go right to it from here if you want to learn about how to recognize signs from your deceased. So that is one way that they communicate with us, our angels, our spirit guides, our deceased loved ones. So if you feel like you're getting messages through music, from the radio, whatever sound system that you use, in fact, trust that. Heck, even if you go to exercise class and a song comes on and you just feel like maybe that's my deceased loved one or my angel or whoever, it is. It is their way of communicating with you. So we touched on this before. People who find too much noise overstimulating, often, again, it's because when there's too much noise happening in our external environment, we're having trouble hearing what's going on in our internal environment because we are, again, clairaudient. We are hearing things from the other side. If you tend to hear answers and messages in your head, maybe you think when you're alone, particularly, that's why you need that alone time. If you, let's say you're looking for the answer to a problem and it's quiet. You're by yourself in the car or at your home or maybe outside on a walk and there's no one around and it's fairly quiet or completely quiet. And so maybe in your mind, you're thinking of a question or a problem and the answer seems to come into your head somehow. A thought seems to come into your head. that is a sign that you are clairaudient, clear hearing. That can overlap a bit again with telepathy, telepathic, which is mind-to-mind communication. And what's really amazing when people learn that they are indeed clairaudient, sometimes people are just pleasantly shocked to learn that their whole lives they've been able to telepathically hear their angels, their spirit guides, their deceased family members in their mind, and have been living this way their whole lives, and just learn to accept it and maybe not tell a lot of people. And when they sit down with me or any like-minded person and learn, wow, I have been a telepathic medium my whole life, or a big part of my life. It's just, it's incredible to see that joy and that aha moment that people have. There's a couple here at the bottom of the list that are so clear. And a lot of times these last two items are the ones that people are often hesitant to talk about. If you ever have had an experience where you think someone has called your name, but there doesn't seem to be anyone around, maybe you're hearing someone that isn't here in the physical with us. And this has happened to me a lot. And especially now, of course, as an adult, as a working medium, children experience this a lot more than we realize. So do animals, for that matter, because animals are very psychic. And so if you have a pet that may perk up their ears to something that you can't hear, there could be two reasons for that. Your pet could be hearing something that's farther away than our hearing, because our pets do have excellent hearing. Or your pet could be hearing a spirit in your environment. And finally, if you hear high-pitched ringing in your ears at times, this is my favorite, because a lot of people experience this and have no idea why. The high-pitched ringing that you will sometimes get, you know, there's this old saying, oh, it means someone's talking about you. More likely, what's happening is someone who is in a higher frequency, fourth dimension, let's say, or fifth or even sixth dimension, who is not in physical form, more likely than this old expression, okay, that, oh, someone's talking about me, it's much more likely that someone in fourth, fifth, or sixth dimension is talking to you. And what I really like to say to people, if you experience this high-pitched ringing or little cabin pressure changes in your ear, maybe little pops, just observe when it happens. And if you can at all, when you experience this phenomenon, see if you can quiet your mind and just take a few deep breaths, because what will very commonly happen is that information will just sort of pop up in your mind, because that high-pitched ringing, what that is for most people is a spirit guide talking to you and giving you specific messages, solutions to problems, whatever it might be, insight maybe into a difficult situation with someone else in your life, a disagreement, or maybe you're worried about someone, you know, you've got the idea. So when you experience that phenomenon, if you can just pause, you know, take some deep breaths, quiet your mind, and listen to what's happening in your mind, you might start noticing ideas, thoughts, sentences, answers to questions bubble up in your mind, because it's literally just been implanted there telepathically by a loved one of yours on the other side. And so that's just a little brief explanation of signs of a clairaudient person, what it really is. And the question of what is clairaudience, I hope, has been pretty much answered in this video. It's, you know, again, being able to somehow hear spirits on the other side. And the last thing I want to mention is that clairaudience, or clear hearing, happens within you. Something just happened with me that I do sometimes experience and describe in my Facebook Lives. I didn't even know this was going to come up today, but I want to address it. What just happened a moment ago was I started to feel as if I had just swallowed my snack that I had over an hour ago. I had some peanuts that get a little salty. And this is literally a way that spirit guides do work through me. I can't fully explain how they do this, but they can lovingly and gently work within our body somehow they managed to give me the feeling that I had barely swallowed the almonds I ate an hour ago. It stopped me from talking for just a moment. So this is a whole other aspect to clairaudience that I just want to briefly touch on. When you are connected to the other side, they will help you to more clearly hear yourself. So we've gone through all of these signs that you might hear things, you might, hear ringing in your ears, or hear someone calling your name, hear messages on music. Phenomenal. But what about noticing little signs within yourself where somehow your higher self or someone on the other side might be asking you, prompting you to stop and reflect on what you're saying, or maybe stop talking out loud and start going inward to your mind. And then again, that's one sign that I notice is when they start to sort of stop up my throat. They're telling me to slow down, or today they're telling me we're almost done. I was going to end this video like 2 minutes ago, and when I started to get this tickle on the throat, I knew there was another message, so there was more. So noticing the way that there will be changes in your own voice, in your own body when you are speaking, that is a way of listening to information that's beyond just the 5 physical senses and the 3D. So that's also a sign of clairaudience. Isn't that incredible? So I hope that this video has been informative and interesting to you and helpful. Please subscribe to my channel. I do upload learn videos every week and guided meditations, and we're just going to be expanding this community here. I'm also on Facebook. And finally, check out my website at heatherlcoleman.com. Have a great week, everyone, and I bless you wherever you are on your spiritual journey.